It is I, John O'Regan, the uncommon voice for the common man, coming to you today live from Shadyside, Ohio, where I have more than a few things to say about Mitt Romney's decision not to use Reverend Jeremiah Wright in the political ads. Now, as we all know, a certain political action committee has made videos or campaign ads that feature Jeremiah Wright and tie that right to Obama. And apparently they wanted the Romney campaign to use this. But Mitt Romney said no, he's not going to use Jeremiah Wright in campaign ads. He wants to, quote unquote, look to the future. But I got some news from Mitt Romney, baby. It's like this. If Obama's reelected, our future looks very bleak. But with that being said, I actually believe that Mitt Romney has pulled off a political stroke of genius, and I'll explain why in a moment. But first, let's rehash the Jeremiah Wright thing. Now, I don't believe that Romney should use Jeremiah Wright, but I believe McCain should have used Jeremiah Wright. If McCain would have used Jeremiah Wright, in my opinion, he'd be president today. But it was a different situation 3 years ago. Because, for the simple fact that the Republican brand was so tainted by the media and their obsession with hating George Bush, that McCain was really kind of at a decided disadvantage. But McCain did not understand that the media was not on his side. And I'll prove it. Because in the height of the Democratic campaign, the primaries between Hillary and Obama, Hillary let it be known that if Obama continued on his vicious attacks against her, that she might very well play the Jeremiah Wright card. And that, right there and then, started this whole thing. In fact, the North Carolina Republican Party was so worried that Obama would be elected president that in the middle of the Democrat primary season, they ran an ad that tied Obama to Jeremiah Wright. The Republicans did in North Carolina. And of course, as soon as Obama's friends in the media, namely NBC, saw that the North Carolina GOP was using an ad, they had to do something. They had a problem on their hands. They did not want the American people to know who Jeremiah Wright was and who he was affiliated with. So they instantly got on the phone to McCain and asked him to come down to the Today program. And McCain, thinking, gee, look, I get all this free publicity on national TV, was on the first plane to New York. He didn't any more than set foot in the studios at 30 Rockefeller Plaza when Meredith Vieira said that the North Carolina GOP was running an ad, with President Obama's former pastor. And McCain was outraged by this. He practically picked out his cell phone and called the North Carolina GOP and told them not to use Jeremiah Wright with Obama. And in fact, if you ask me, they set a trap for McCain. McCain walked right into it. He said he would not use Jeremiah Wright in the campaign, and I knew right there and then it was all over for him. I knew it right there and then. And it turns out I was right. I still believe McCain should have used Jeremiah Wright. But it's a different thing with Romney. And what Romney did, I think, was a stroke of political genius. Because just think about how this whole thing came up. All of a sudden, this pack is leaked that they have an ad, tying Obama to Jeremiah Wright. They want the Romney campaign to use it. Well, Romney doesn't know anything about this. He goes out on stage in a speech or something and says, well, I didn't even know about this. I watched this and read this all on a plane when I got here. And I disavow all this. I don't want any of this being done. But see, the smart thing of this is that by him saying that he's not going to talk about Reverend Wright, guess what? He's talking about Reverend Wright. And so is everybody else. I came home from work last night. These people were all beside themselves on MSNBC that Romney was talking about Jeremiah Wright. And you know what's going to happen? People are more polarized about politics this year than what they were when Obama was running 3 or 4 years ago. People are awake. And now all of a sudden, by not talking about Jeremiah Wright, and everybody's talking about Jeremiah Wright, people are going to say, well, who is this guy? And once they start to listen to this guy's radical statements, his anti-Semitism, his God, and all that stuff, they're going to say, and this was Obama's pastor for 20 years, and Romney takes the high road. He's up there, not talking about Jeremiah Wright, while everybody's talking about Jeremiah Wright. I think it's genius. Not to mention the fact that if you ask me, Romney says his campaign's not going to use Jeremiah Wright. That doesn't mean that, let's say, Freedom Works won't use Jeremiah Wright, or somebody won't use Jeremiah Wright, because somebody should use Jeremiah Wright. It doesn't need to be Romney to actually do it. Just let somebody else pick up the ball with Jeremiah Wright and run it. And I'm telling you this right now, whoever does that is doing this country a great service, because the country needs to know who Jeremiah Wright is. This country needs to know what it is that Jeremiah Wright has said. They need to know what kind of an anti-Semite racist Jeremiah Wright is. We need to have the American people hear Jeremiah Wright. It's just that simple. But Romney, let Romney kind of take the high road and say, hey, I don't know what's going on here, because there's a difference with Romney. Remember, McCain said he didn't want anybody to use Jeremiah Wright, and so they didn't. Romney hasn't done that. Romney says, I'm not going to use Jeremiah Wright. Nod, nod, wink, wink. Smart. It is a smart, shrewd political move, and by God, I think it's about time that somebody else picks up the ball with Jeremiah Wright and takes it right down the field and spike that damn ball. Until next time, this is your favorite conservative, Ronald Reagan, saying this to you right now. Reverend Wright, you're the best thing that ever happened to us. Until next time, over